morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, as we have been celebrating the 500th anniversary of the Protestant Reformation, we've heard over and over again that although we have this great, proud history, the Protestant church, in particular the mainline Protestant church, is in decline. That Christians are shifting from churches like ours to evangelical churches, or worse, that people just don't care about church anymore, and especially people in the next generation that's coming of age are just much less religious. That's what we've been hearing, because that's the conventional wisdom. But when I look around at Lewinsville Presbyterian Church, I don't see it. And I'm here to talk to you today to ask you to commit yourself to helping us together to thrive in this environment and to make the best of the circumstances that we have. Now, how can we possibly thrive against these headwinds that are demographic and that we keep hearing about that are affecting the church today? And when I thought about that for this message, I thought that we are living in unprecedented times, and we're living in times when things that seemed impossible seem to be happening on a daily basis. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because I think about my life, I'm not sure that there's been a time during that time when our society has been more divided, a time when political leaders routinely encourage us through their words and their deeds to believe that those who disagree with us, or those who look differently than we do, or those who believe differently than we do, are less than human. That's the message that's out there in our world. And what's even worse than that is that there are many people out there who believe that Christians are on board with this kind of approach to dealing with one another, and that Christians are judging other people and excluding other people and serving as agents of division rather than bringing the world together. This, of course, is incredibly disturbing. And it's something that has come up in our session meetings this year as we talk about the direction that we want this church to be headed in. And as we've discussed these issues, part of what we have realized is that our current social and political climate is not just a challenge to this church, but it's a real opportunity for this particular church at this particular time. Because the core principles of our faith here at Lewinsville, loving our neighbors, being hospitable to strangers, respect for human dignity, these principles have never been more relevant than they are right now. In part because people in our community are hungry for a place that embraces these core values. They need it now more than they ever have. So we at Lewinsville, all of us together, have doubled down on making it clear that the kingdom of God, and our church in particular, is open to everyone. You can think about the outreach that we've done consistently to Westgate Elementary School, for example. Good Samaritan Day, the summer mission trip. I could go on and on with a list, and I'm not going to do that, but if you want that, I encourage you to find Joe Parisi, who you can't talk to this man without seeing that he's just bubbling over with enthusiasm for all of the many things that we are doing out there in the community day in and day out to make Fairfax County a better place and to bring people together and to just live out our vision of the kingdom of God right here in McLean. Another thing that I'll point you to is the sign that's been out on our lawn many Sundays or many days of just every day of the week for the last year. It says, "I was a stranger and you welcomed me," which of course comes from the goats and the sheep parable that we will hear in a couple of weeks. We put that there very intentionally because we want to make clear that this church is all about bringing people together. It's all about hospitality. And if you needed another example of that, you can look at the trunk or treat that we hosted 2 weeks ago. It turns out that churches, as Scott told us, aren't very good at measuring things. But food trucks are good at measuring things. And what they measured when they came to our trunk or treat was that there were at least 150 children under the age of 12 who went through one of the lines for one of the trucks at that trunk or treat. Of course, that's just a tiny fraction of the people who were there. And so what we had was hundreds of people from our community pouring into our property to have a community moment. Now, who were these people? Many of them were the people in this room, but many of them looked nothing like a lot of the people in this room. There were Muslims, there were Latino immigrants, there were languages that were being spoken that were unfamiliar to many of us. It was a very diverse crowd of people. And I would submit to you that they were not coming here just for the candy. These people were coming because we had opened our doors as a church to the community, and that's precisely what we want to continue to do. These things that we're talking about are all outgrowths of our church's core strengths of hospitality, inclusiveness, thoughtfulness, and friendship. And the world is hungry for this. And I would submit that there has never been a time when the returns from investing in these values would be higher than they are right now. But they do require investment. They require our time, our passion, our energy, and yes, our money. And as we have been planning for the finances of the church, the Stewardship Committee has asked all of us to consider prayerfully whether we could increase our pledges to Lewinsville by 10% this year to ensure that this mission can continue to thrive as it's thriving right now. And so in our family, when we discussed our 2018 pledge, we decided that we would increase our pledge from last year by 10%. And we hope that you will do the same, because the stakes, frankly, have not been higher for quite some time, and the opportunity for our church has not been greater. And so I hope that you can share my excitement as we wait to see what we can do together as a congregation in the coming year. Thank you.